Today, we are talking about how to make getting organized the easy thing to do. When I was starting out on my organizing journey, someone shared with me this idea of making getting organized the easy thing to do. I was like, huh? I knew that being organized would make my life easier. Obviously, I think at this point, we all know that. And I was 100% sold on that idea. So I didn't need to be convinced that getting organized was going to make my life easier. But I couldn't wrap my head around this idea of you could make it the easier thing to do. Because I felt like if it were the easier thing to do, wouldn't I already be doing that? Like I don't get it. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay. But now that we have lived this organized way for so many years, I get it. I get it. And so in this episode, I want to share it with you because getting organized, the process of getting organized can be a lot of work, and staying organized requires what I call and what I have trademarked the Sunday reset, right? It does require maintenance. But how can we make it easier? How can we make the whole process easier? So today, I want to share some very specific examples of making being organized the easy thing to do in your life. And I'm going to share with you some of the systems that we had set up during our process of getting organized that have actually felt hard for us to maintain. And so then I've refined them to make them the easier thing to do. So a piece of this for sure is testing out and iterating and seeing what works for you and doesn't work for you. And now in business, I enjoy the process of iterating. In my life, I just want it done. I just want the thing done. I want to do it once and have it be done. So for the most part, that is how I set up my house. But every now and then I realized that some of the systems we had set up either just never worked from the get-go, like they were too hard to stick with, or our lives had changed so much because the kids had gotten over. They're over it. No, the kids had gotten older and the systems that we had in place were just not working anymore. So let's talk about some specifics that we had put in place. Now, I want to give the context that when getting organized, there will inevitably be some areas where switching up habits and routines will be necessary. So even after I'm sharing all of this with you today, there are just some habits that you will realize change through the years. And so your system is going to change. And then as you're getting organized, like you also are going to have to take an honest look at yourself and be like, where do I need to get my act together and get into better habits and routines? Like that is going to be a piece of it. So I don't agree with this idea that we can create systems that exactly match all of the habits that we're currently doing, and then we're going to become organized. That feels very idealistic. I'd love to say that's possible, but the reality is you probably are going to have some habit transformations. But some are going to feel easier than others. And where it feels easy, those are the systems that you're going to put in place. You're going to realize like, I've just got to like switch up this little thing. I'm going to be able to do it. Words come out today. Okay, they're coming. So it's what I'm talking about here is where you've set up a system and you're like, I can't, we're not using this. Like it just doesn't work for us. That's where switching up the system so that it feels like the easier thing is going to be the thing to do. So that is what we are talking about today. So let's talk about it. One thing that we did to make our lives easier during our process of getting organized was I got rid of laundry baskets in the kids' rooms because my kids were little and they weren't doing the laundry anyway. And we have a laundry room upstairs, which is right next to the kids' bathroom. And I was finding that when we were changing them to take their baths at night, we would put their dirty clothes in the hampers in their rooms. And then it was time to do laundry and I'd have to go around to every room to empty the hampers. But I realized that I could just get rid of their bedroom hampers and put their clothes directly into the laundry room. And it eliminated a step. It got rid of all the stuff off the floor. Like it made being more organized with dirty clothes the easy thing to do. It made laundry that much easier. Okay. So that was one system that we had in place. And then this year, all these years later, my 11-year-old was like, I noticed that she started putting her dirty clothes on her floor, which was just very unlike her because we put them in the laundry room hamper. And I was like, girlfriend, what is going on with this? She's like, can I please have a hamper in my closet? I just want to have a hamper in my closet, because she was changing for dance. Like, she was changing other times than when she was just getting in the shower. And so it was annoying to her to put the clothes in the laundry room. And I'm like, okay, so one habit is going to have to change here. Either getting her a laundry basket that she can put in her room and then changes the laundry dynamic a bit, or I'm going to have to force her to like stick with the system that we've been using, which clearly isn't working for her because she's putting her laundry on her bedroom floor. So we got her a hamper, and guess what? No more clothes on her floor. I also am not the one that does our laundry anymore. We are very lucky to have expanded our housekeeping help. We have a housekeeper that does our laundry for us for the most part. So it doesn't impact my life as much. But that's an example of like, we had a system, we put it in place, it was working beautifully for everyone until it wasn't. And then we had to make a switch. And the easier switch was getting her a laundry basket rather than trying to be like, you need to put all your clothes in the hamper, right? Like, we pick our battles, but we also like, what's the easier thing here? And that felt super easy. Okay, another example. When my kids were littler, we all had fewer shoes. And I think maybe I was a little less into fashion. I had fewer shoes. We would keep 1 or 2 pairs of shoes downstairs. We are very lucky to have a closet that's right. I call it a mudroom. It's actually not a mudroom. It's a little hallway that I had beadboard put up in to make it look like a little mudroom. And I built a little bench there. But we have this closet that leads right into our garage, which is where we enter and exit the house. So I had a shoe rack in there. We all had 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. And we would keep the rest upstairs in our closet because my kids didn't really have more than that. And if I was wearing different shoes, it was for like an occasion. I didn't mind carrying them upstairs. But I realized as my kids got older and their feet and their shoes got bigger, we were able to fit fewer on the shoe rack. And they also had more shoes, and their shoes get dirty. And I was fine with them keeping them downstairs. So I got not only a taller shoe rack, but I got 2 of them. And now we keep a lot more shoes downstairs, but they go away on the shoe rack and not sitting in the hallway. So it is a very simple habit, but it made being organized the easy thing to do, because when the kids were wearing multiple different sets of shoes and then there wasn't a spot on the shoe rack, and then the shoes would either end up on the floor or, crammed into the shoe rack, that was all of a sudden not the easy thing anymore. So just expanding our shoe rack did not require us to change any habits. Now, most of my shoes still live in my room because like, it's very rare that I'm wearing a lot of my shoes. Like, they'll be for an occasion, they'll be at night. I don't mind bringing them back upstairs afterwards, but all of our day-to-day shoes, for the most part, now live downstairs. And we expanded our system to make it the easy thing, to make it easy for us to stay organized and not have people have to carry their shoes back upstairs daily. So that was a very easy swap for us. Okay, because I had added that shoe rack, I actually found one that had this like faux marble top. And I have 2 purses that I carry daily. One's black and one is cream, depending on if I'm wearing black or not black. And I would often want to switch out my purses, but it would be very annoying because I keep all my bags upstairs. I still have my like evening bags in my room, but I got a little basket that I put on top of that shoe rack that I keep my 2 purses in, so I can easily swap them out if I want to. This is not as much about being organized as just eliminating a pain point. But again, it's just, it makes swapping out my purses when I want to the easy thing to do. Okay, what else do we do? We were realizing that having our kids charge their devices in our bedroom was not ideal on the weekends, because now that my kids are older and they actually don't have as many activities on the weekends, we can sleep in on the weekends. It's a miracle. I mean, by sleep in, I mean stay in bed till like 8, but still, that feels amazing. But my kids would wake up and want to be on their phones. And I mean, sometimes we'd stay in bed even longer. And yes, all right, don't lecture me on the like, does a kid need to be on the phone at 8 a.m.? That is not the point of this conversation. Point is, we didn't want the kids needing to have their devices in our room. So we actually bought some chargers to put in the laundry room so that they are not allowed to keep their phones in their rooms at night. So now they plug them into the laundry room. And my daughter sometimes during the week actually gets up before me also. Because sometimes I don't get out of bed till 6:15 and she'll get up at 6 and she wants to check the weather. And so she can get her phone, she can get on it. So putting chargers in the laundry room makes getting the phones out of the room and being organized with our devices the easy thing to do. All right, what else? I love lighting candles. I absolutely love having candles. And I don't want clutter of having lighters or matches around, like out. And so I had them all of our lighters in our kitchen. And I realized that under some of our candles, there's like a little drawer or there's like a little nook that I could put a little lighter in that I had anyway. And it made being able to light my candles the easy thing to do. So easy. Just get the lighter that's right by the candle. So, I mean, these are such specific examples for me in my life, but I know that specific examples are very helpful for you to start envisioning where are all the ways that you could just start eliminating these little pain points to make building this life that you want the easy thing to do. So I'm going to share 2 examples from Briggs because whenever I share examples from her, people absolutely eat them up. They love them. So one is for her swim solution. So her kids are avid swimmers. And Briggs is a lot less, I'm going to say anal than I am. And she can be more practical than me. And she doesn't have a mudroom. So she set up in her dining room a whole sort of like swim station for her kids that includes the bags that they have to pack and repack every time they go to swim, and also a drying rack right there in her dining room to put their swimsuits on so that, the things that come home wet, so that everything they need is all in one place in her house. And would I want that in my dining room? Most likely not. But for her, like I said, she's so much less anal. She's just much more practical. It works beautifully for her. They have this swim setup right in their dining room, and it doesn't look cluttered because it's an actual organized system, and it makes swim time and being organized with all their swim stuff the easy thing to do. There's no battles over where's this thing and where's that, and is your bag packed, and go get your swimsuit. It's all right there. And the other thing that Briggs does that is a brilliant solution is she is not a sock house. They don't wear socks in the house, not because it's not like not being a shoe house. They just don't like wearing socks. Whereas I feel like my feet are always cold. We're always wearing socks in my house, but her house isn't. So she would find that her kids were never wearing socks when it was time to leave the house. So their shoes were downstairs, but they never had socks. So she brought all of their socks just downstairs and has them in a basket by their shoes. So every time before they leave the house, the socks are just downstairs and they're not all over the place. They're in one specific area. So it just makes getting out of the house the easy thing to do because the socks are right down there. So where can you think of the pain points in your life? Maybe you have a system that you've set up and you're like, my house is set up with a closet by the front door. So we put all of our coats and shoes in there, but guess what? We never leave the house out that door. And so having that system there is just not working for us. So we need to create a system that works by our back door where we come in and out of the house, right? Because if you can get yourself in the habit of using that front door system, great. But if you find that you're just not doing it, and so shoes and coats are ending up on the floor by the back door, it's time to put up hooks by the back door, get a little system for shoes by the back door, just as much as can fit there, right? Really thinking about your house, your space, and the life that you live inside it. The solutions only need to make sense to you and only need to make your life easier. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone else, and if I were in Briggs' situation and could get over the fact that I had swim stuff in my dining room, it's such a simple solution to just tuck away when they have guests over. If she didn't want it out, she doesn't care because she's chill like that. But let's say she didn't want it out when there were guests over, she could easily move it aside. So, and it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else that you have your swim stuff in your dining room. Like it just needs to make sense for you, because getting organized, a big piece of it is aesthetics. Like that's what you see when you see organized pictures. And I do believe that the more beautiful our spaces are, the easier it is for us to, not the more beautiful our spaces are, the more beautiful our systems are that we create, the easier it is for us to maintain them. There is just something about the power of maintaining a beautiful aesthetic that feels fun. It feels exciting. It feels easier. But this is not, organizing isn't about just the aesthetics of it. It is about creating systems that eliminate pain points in your life, that make your life easier. And that's what this piece of this is all about. Staying organized should not feel hard. I'm going to say that again. Staying organized should not feel hard. It does require some maintenance, the Sunday reset or resetting whenever you feel like you need to, but it actually should not feel hard. And so if you've spent the time and energy to get organized and it's feeling hard, that is an important cue to you that you need to really reassess some of the systems that you've set up. Yes, it requires maintenance to be organized, but the whole point of getting organized is to make your life easier. So if it's not making your life easier, if there's any part of it that is not making your life easier, how can you make it easier? How can you make it the easy thing for yourself? And think outside the box a little bit here, and don't be so married to whatever solution you initially set up if it's not working for you, if it's not making your life feel easier. Because really, truly, the whole reason to get organized is for that stress relief that you get. It's for that ease. It's for the time back. It's for the less frustration. And if you're not finding that with your systems, take a look around just on a very specific level, one by one. Like, what about this isn't working for me? What kind of tweak could I make to make it the easy thing for me? So, your takeaway for today, when you set up systems that support your lifestyle, you eliminate the necessity for making decisions. You've just eliminated the necessity to make them. And that in and of itself makes life easier. But then when these systems become the easier thing to do, you can't fail. So when you set up systems where you just on a daily basis don't have to make a decision, like with Briggs, right? She doesn't need to decide where the swim stuff is going. It's just going in her dining room. My kids don't need to decide where their shoes are going. They just go on the shelf. My daughter doesn't need to decide what to do with her clothing when she takes it off. She just puts it right in her laundry basket, right? Like it's all of these little decisions that you've taken out of your day to day. So you don't have to use up your brain power making little decisions. You've already made the decision for yourself. So that makes your life easier. And then when the system is the easy thing to do, it's like, you can't fail. You really can't. It is how getting organized and staying organized feels easy. And it continues to make your life easier and easier. And that is what I want for you, friends. So today, go just look at one or two things in your house. You're like, this ain't working for me. And here is what I'm going to do instead. And let me know how it goes for you. Go make it a great day.